Hello and welcome everybody to 1996. In 1996, Nick Faldo won the Masters with his Mizuno clubs. Not this club. Cleveland, in the early 90s, came out with the VAS irons. They had a little sticker insert which was supposed to help with vibration, which was supposed to help with feel and sound. And in 1996, they came out with a titanium driver where they put a label here on the crown to help with vibration. This isn't exactly as influential or memorable for most people as the irons. But Cleveland was really trying to compete at this stage because it's a titanium driver in 96, so they're competing with the Great Big Bertha. Is it any good? And what are your thoughts about the Cleveland VAS driver, not the irons? Because they came out with the stainless steel version, and this is the first titanium driver from Cleveland. So let's get this on the review table and have a closer look. Everybody's familiar with the VAS irons. These stand out. They're pretty influential, all things considered, with this vibration absorption idea, how it affects sound and feel. Now, you see they put a little insert right here. They also put an insert on the crown of the driver. Let's dive into this VAS driver titanium, which came out in 96. So, first off, at the crown, you'll notice it's just this bass boat metal flake, all right? Cleveland VAS insert right here to help with the sound, obviously. I don't know. At the face, you can see it's the dot dash Morse code going on right here. The sole also says, Cleveland. Here on the bottom rail, there's like an individual rail right here. It does say VAS. This is the titanium version. The loft here in the circle, 10 degrees, made in the USA. Like things were back then. You can see just the way the hosel interacts with the face. This is offset ever so slightly. We have the skirt spinning around here, more of that paint. Painted face, painted crown, lovely. Hosel right here. Looks like there's a little silver ring here and then black ferrule. We move up the shaft. This shaft doesn't have a lot of information on it, not even flex. It's just Harrison Star plus low torque graphite. That's all it says. I put the sticker on here just to remind me of the year. And this particular individual has a Golf Pride Tour Wrap grip. You can see Golf Pride Tour Wrap. So it is a driver. It looks very similar to something like a Callaway Big Bertha titanium, the Great Big Bertha. So I guess we have to get this out on the range and see how it feels. What on earth is going on today in the alien world of Cleveland VAS? This is the companion to the famous Cleveland VAS irons. I made a video about those. I'm going to remake a video of that probably because they're these cool irons that look like alien eggs that are ready to hatch. And this is the accompanying driver. So let's talk a little bit about this era, the late 90s. What's going on in the world of golf. Recycle our tees here. So lots of clubs looked like this driver. I mean, a lot. Northwestern was just pumping these things out like crazy, made out of aluminum. They were calling them titanium matrix. They might have put a little sprinkle of titanium powder in there. But they looked a lot like this. This has a nice black finish. The metal flake really shines in the sunlight. But the key thing is this huge oval sticker they put there, which is supposed to absorb vibration, hence vibration absorption system. So like the irons, okay? But as far as the shape of this is very boring compared to the irons, which are just like rock star, look at us irons. I expected this to be purple or something, but it's not, it's black. So, very 90s. Again, the grip is not offensive. It's a Tour Wrap, Golf Pride Tour Wrap grip. The shaft is not offensive. It's just black out with a little text here. It doesn't bother me. And that little oval on the crown. So, ready to relive the 90s, everybody? Let's rock and roll. Let's hit. I have a weird thought. Let me hit one first. Right down the barrel. Carried the 200. If I had to guess, I'd say about 225 on that one. That's a guess.
Data at the end, you can see for yourself. That wasn't a massive drive, but it wasn't a bad drive either. It was right down the gullet. It would have been very playable. So here's my unicorn scenario. I want to know if you are this person. Did you buy this new? And are you still playing it over 25 years later? I mean, just the thought of, I mean, you saw it was, I mean, that might have just been a lucky shot, but for me, that is a lucky shot. But yeah, I want to know if this has what really impacted somebody in a way where they're like, yes, this is my driver forever. You know, take it for what it's worth. People, comments, anybody can write any comment they want. All right, let's see if we can get some other shapes out of this. Let's see if I can mishit it. Let's see if I can duff one 5 feet in front of me. That one was a little bit towy and a little pulley. It's going to come back a little bit. Again, that probably would be findable, depending on what kind of course you're playing. All right, let's see if we get one more shot out of this tee. All right, let's see if I can do that exact same thing, just out of the middle. That was a little heely and a little thin. Looks like it ended up in the exact same spot though. So, I mean, it feels like clubs from the 90s. It feels like a driver from the 90s. That's, you know, would I choose the TI Bubble 2 over this? Yeah. Would I choose the Great Big Bertha over this? Yeah. If I had some VAS irons and I was rocking some 90s clothes, which I'm not, then yeah, I could totally see this in my bag. However, to me, this doesn't jump out as anything special. The sound of it didn't even sound that special. It didn't make the loudest tink. Some other drivers from that era are much louder than this. But, I don't know. To each their own. VAS. Am I missing something that makes this stand out above all the others? I don't think I am. Let me know your thoughts, memories. Cleveland VAS driver in the comments below.
This is surprisingly good for a driver from the mid-90s. You'll see it in the data at the end. I hit the last shot pretty well for me. That's a good shot for me. Now, unfortunately, here on this channel, that's not what we're looking for. But wait a second, it's a good golf club. Yes, congratulations, I agree. But is it desirable? Does it push my buttons in all the right ways? Am I like passionate about this, excited about this? Maybe. Let's be more specific. All right, for starters, the Great Big Bertha, titanium, or Ruger titanium, whichever one you have, is, I think objectively, more influential and more popular than the Cleveland VAS titanium driver. Okay, we can all agree on that. Probably represents the 90s more people will recognize this, and maybe more desirable, okay? Yes, if you asked me, well, let's pick influential drivers in the 90s. The Great Big Bertha would be on that list. The VAS, probably not. To me, the VAS, all right, where do I want to start? Let's talk a little, my family, okay, family of engineers. Okay, so dinner table conversation, all right? Whoever's coming in, uncles, cousins, whoever, PhDs in physics and engineering, okay? And so you get these really annoying conversations where it's like, oh, there was a huge accident, you know, and I'll be saying something as the non-engineer in the family. Yeah, there was a huge accident and this car got hit by this semi and those poor people in the car. And immediately the engineers speak up. Well, it actually got hit with the same force. The same force is applied to the car and the truck. I'm like, this is literally a conversation we had. I was like, I'm not talking about force. I agree that the force is the same. I'm talking about change of velocity. The automobile experienced a greater change in velocity, which is going to impact their body more. Well, we're not a doctor, but all I know is it's the same force. I'm like, I know it's the same force, but which one had a greater change of velocity? I asked a very specific question. Which one had a greater change in velocity, the car or the truck? Well, they were hit with the same force. You're not answering the question. They're just doggedly stuck on this. They're trying to educate me with something I already learned, you know, I already know this, you know, they impact with the same force. I know, but which one experienced a greater change of velocity? They refused to answer that because they knew the answer, all right? It's just like, they just doggedly pursue this. That's what Cleveland, I feel like, is doing here with their VAS. Right now, they're past the VAS irons. They're on the VAS V2 irons, and they're still just like, well, we're going to push this vibration absorption idea. Go Cleveland. We're like, yeah, we get it. Okay. No, but look, we put it on the crown. You're just like, thanks. People copy you with turbulators in the future. They want to sell, whatever they're doing to the person holding the club. To me, this is just like, trying to perpetuate something that isn't worth continuing. That's my feeling, okay? And that's why this is kind of like, even though it's a good driver, maybe not something I'm super excited about. My other problem, okay, now this comes to bias. This is my personal bias. This is a confession, all right? Buckle up. Cleveland is a wedge brand. Everybody out there is like, no, what? Yeah, for me, that's what it is. Because when I started golf, to me, I always looked at those Cleveland wedges and I was like, whoa, those are awesome. Forget Vokey or Wilson or any. I was just infatuated with the Cleveland wedges, and that's how I see the company. I'm guilty for Mizuno too. I see Mizuno as an iron company. I've hit Mizuno drivers, new ones, on the expo days, the exhibition days where they bring their drivers. Mizuno drivers are amazing. I hit them just as far as anything else. But I still have this, speaking of doggedly, perpetuating these ideas, I still have that feeling, okay? So to me, I look at this and I'm just like, when would I play this? If we were drafting 90s clubs, and I drafted a set of VAS irons, the V1 or the V2, whatever, I would draft this driver because it matches. It's cool. Cleveland. I would play a Cleveland set from the 90s. Yeah, heck yeah. Yes, I would. And this would represent, I think, pretty well. Because I like this driver. Just not as much as some other drivers. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. Well, let me know your thoughts and let me know how you feel in the comments below. I doubt anybody's still playing this. But let me know. I think, for me, if you're looking early 90s, I would much rather just give me a Woods Brothers Persimmon or something than this. And if I were going to play titanium, why not something from McGregor or Callaway? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As usual, I can't thank my patrons enough. It's general support over there. They're just here to support the channel. I try to give them credit here with their names up here. If they want, I ask them before I put their name up. And they really keep this channel afloat. It really keeps me motivated. Thank you to all my patrons. Genuinely, I mean that. Another way you can support the channel is by visiting my Amazon shop. I'll put a link in the description below. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. Stay tuned till the end of the video. I do hit this club in the simulator. You can see some of that data here at the end. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe. I am the Vintage Golfer.